Sydney's Catholic Archbishop Anthony Fisher says he's sharing the pain of those suffering as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. In his message for Easter, he explains he's found comfort in the strength of Australians in this time of crisis.
Dare we hope in a world that is suffering? It can seem impossible, even insensitive, to talk of hope when people are sick or dying, anxious or isolated, unemployed or otherwise burdened. One of my Dominican brothers in England, with whom I once lived, died of COVID-19 this week. 18 more Dominicans have it in Europe. I can't visit my own parents here in Sydney because their nursing home is locked down. So I know something of the burden this epidemic is on people. We've been through plagues before. Some have been devastating, but eventually they pass. After Good Friday comes Easter, after the tomb, new life. In 1919, Spanish flu took 15,000 Australian lives, but we bounced back and our society and economy prospered. Though the pandemic had closed churches and stopped masses, Australian Catholics also bounced back, recovering from their long Eucharistic fast by building many churches and doubling their practicing rate. There's every reason to expect we'll recover this time, sooner rather than later, and maybe stronger, more united, more idealistic, if we learn the lessons. Think of the countless acts of selfless service we've witnessed of late, from health workers, neighbours, families, pastors. Think of the novel pastoral responses to this novel coronavirus. In times like these, people of faith and ideals really shine. On Easter night, the new Easter candle is normally lit and carried into the church as a symbol of Christ, our light returned and hope restored. This year, there'll be no congregation to light their own candles from it. But already people are demonstrating Easter light in their works of mercy and prayer. May God bless you and your loved ones in this strange but holy time.
Brisbane's Anglican Archbishop Philip Aspinall says he shares the nation's concerns and fears, but hopes the message of Easter will be a comfort. He emphasises the story of Easter is one of tragedy and triumph.
In the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, the message of Easter hits us with extra force. Many people are worried and anxious about how they will make ends meet if they lose their jobs. They're uncertain about how long all this will last. They're frightened for elderly or sick family members. Some people can't get back home to their loved ones and are feeling lonely and desperate. In the last week of Jesus' life, he experienced many of these same feelings. He was anxious about what was going to happen to himself and to his friends. He felt terribly alone as he moved towards the cross. And on Good Friday, he was betrayed by his friends, spat on, falsely accused, and finally tortured and murdered. Maybe worst of all, Jesus felt completely deserted by the God he had trusted. On the cross, Jesus cried out in desperation, my God, why have you abandoned me?" But Easter Day showed that Jesus hadn't been abandoned at all. God was with him after all, despite Jesus feeling alone. Loneliness, pain and suffering are real. At times we all feel anxious or worried and don't know how we'll get through. But even though those feelings are real, the resurrection shows us that there are no circumstances whatsoever in which God will abandon us. St. Paul said, "Nothing in all creation can separate us from the love of God revealed in Jesus Christ." Such unshakable love frees us from fear and anxiety and releases us to love and serve others. May the joy and hope and peace God gives to the whole world be yours this Easter.